Okay? Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Oh dear, I don't know.
Careful.
I have to read because I'll never get through this. Tonight I'm bringing another 70 signatures on our petition from Franklin residents, making a grand total of 861 signatures since the start of the petition drive. Our friends and neighbors have also signed the petition. Tonight I'm bringing another 45 signatures, making that a grand total of 121 signatures. Many residents have added comments ranging from no compressor station to protect our water, please. I believe as my signature was, these signatures were given to encourage and support the town board as you work your way through the issues that the pipeline projects present. As you know, the projects will impact our roads, our water, our air, and basic quality of living. The projects will definitely impact the value of real estate in the town. I have not heard or read any documentation of any benefits that these projects will bring to Franklin. I visited the compressor station in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. There was the constant noise that others have heard at other compressor stations, and yes, my conversation could be heard over the noise. What was very disconcerting was the vibration, not something that you can ignore or like plug your ears to. I was standing about a quarter mile downhill from the compressor station. I am told that the vibration actually comes from the movement of gas through the pipes. The visit to the compressor station was in the middle of July. It was a very quick visit as I found it by accident while traveling to another appointment. The compressor station is situated on top of a hill or ridge divide. The valley is much wider than the Oleout Valley. All around near the compressor station, it struck me that the vegetation looked brown as if it had been through a drought. I did not have time to notice birds, bees, or other wildlife. I simply cannot imagine any single being wanting to live next to a compressor station. Not much later, I read in the news that the compressor station caught fire because it had been hit by lightning, sitting there all by itself on the hilltop. Good target. As you know, the Medical Society of the State of New York, through Resolution 2015 number 159, recognizes the potential impact on human health and the environment associated with natural gas infrastructure, and that all levels of government should urge the implementation of a comprehensive health impact assessment. And you can see that below what that is. Today, I received confirmation from New York Center for Agricultural Medicine and Health will add their name to the list of organizations supporting this resolution. Tonight, I'm asking if the town board will do the same. I thank you for the privilege of the floor.
Yes, Tim?
I've got a question on the signatures. Are they registered voters in Franklin, or are they out of towners from another township or another county? And are all of them signatures that you have witnessed? Was there somebody witnessing them all?
Yes.
Yes.
Somebody witnessed every signature that was signed on the 800
Yes.
sign?
Yes.
Well, I sat down, I stopped at the farm stand.
At least two of
Or
us.
down to the farm thing this weekend. And I was just there a few minutes. And I watched
Sorry.
4 or 5 people, they were talking, people come up, a guy signed it, his wife signed it, and they walked away. Never talked to nobody.
You were the witness, Tim.
I stood there watching. Next time I'll have a camera on me and we'll show you. But where are they? They have to witness the signature. I didn't know the people. I don't know what they signed or anything, but I think the state law before them are recognized that they have to be witnessed.
Local of court. That's a good question.
Yes.
I'm at that table every single week, and at least one other person, if not two,
Really?
is there. So they're always witnessed.
And when we originally went door to doors too.
And we went from door to door, and it was at least two of us.
Actually, I don't think these are
It shouldn't even be an operation.
legal papers, so probably witnessing doesn't mean a whole, I mean, there's nothing, not that you didn't witness it, I'm not saying you didn't, but I'm just saying they probably do not have to be witnessed, because if you get through your mailer, somebody mailed something back who was a witness to that?
Yeah, and I
I mean,
think,
just, I mean, that's, you know, you're not, it's not like a petition for election or whatever, which has got to be witnessed, blah, blah, blah.
And Jeff, just for clarity, there were two separately labeled. One is for landowners and voters. The other is for friends, neighbors, visitors, neighboring towns. And that was the lower numbers. The 861 are landowners that probably pay taxes and.
But I know some of the landowners that have paid taxes. One person told me that, you know, she really wasn't in agreement with it, but she did sign it just to get it through. So I mean, but that's on everything too. That's not just this. You know, but thank you. Okay. Yes.
I think the main reason that the petitions were done is so that you'd understand that there weren't 5 or 6 people that felt this way.
Right.
And now you can see that there are a lot of people, and there's apparently a silent minority that doesn't want to show up and
Because we
explain their feeling about it.
Well, that feeling
that's one
also
way
gets
that
to
we
be
have
quite
done our showing the way we feel.
Right. Okay.
There's one thing I wanted to say. In talking about the gas industry and everything coming in here, and everybody saying it was going to help us economically, I think the main business in Franklin are all locally owned, but mainly by residents here, like his families. That is the kind of thing that we should encourage, is locally owned businesses run by people who live here. I mean, their things are amazing, because they've done so much, but there are others too. Don just started a fence post business. I mean, that is what really built this place, is building local businesses. We used to have, this is one of my big gripes, is that we used to have a main street full of stores. And what ended it is when they put in all of those things on Route 88, and everybody abandoned the stores to go and shop there to save a few cents and take a few years off their car's life. I think there should be a much stronger local, really support local. It sounds, it's just too bad. It's just too bad that people wouldn't do that. And then we lost the department store, we lost our plumbing stores, we lost everything. And even to this day, people drive over to Lowe's and they don't go to Munson's. I mean, I don't quite get that. You know, I don't see why you'd want to do that. Why you'd want to just send money out of your community.
Well, it's that freedom of choice thing.
I know there's freedom of choice, but I mean, each person has to think about where they're spending their money and how they're spending it and how much they're spending and how much car they're driving and how hot they keep their house or if they air condition it. And you do. You have to think, and that's all important. And you should encourage us to do that.
Why?
How many food stamps they receive?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yes, Don.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I want to thank the board. I appreciate very much what you're doing. You know, we have asked for quite a while, and you have made great progress now. The road use agreement being in progress, and you know, an ordinance at least is developed to look at. I thank you for that. Tonight, I did want to just drop on your desk something that you probably have seen. It's from, you know, the Delaware County Board of Supervisors. It's the letter that Mr. Eisel wrote. And I just want to bring up a couple things that he asked. This is about the Tennessee gas pipeline, but it's also the fact that the board in Delhi missed getting on board with Constitution and asking some of these things. It still might not be too late for Franklin to, and I'll leave this with you. But you know, they're asking as part of the road use agreements that there be some sort of bonding or coverage of the things. They're asking that they pay for all the costs of a construction of a distribution system that provides natural gas, and it says, to small communities such as Franklin, Davenport, and Sydney. Constitution is coming here, so if there's any way in your negotiations, if they ever come to the table, that you can bring up things like that, I really think that is something that could be put on the table and say, well, Franklin isn't getting anything. Maybe just the fact that they put a tap up on the hill that can later on be opened.
Right.
It might be just a negotiating point, Jeff. And that, everything would be an escrow account. So you probably have
I'd
seen
love
this,
to
but
see-
I just wanted to bring
The
up.
Constitution is pretty much a, well, leather stocking, thank you, Don.
Well, leather stocking is distribution part of it,
Right,
But
they
Constitution-
pulled out of New York State,
temporarily, yeah.
temporarily, yeah.
Yeah,
They're gonna
but,
put their
but why not
money
have
where money-
Constitution do that instead of leather stocking money doing it, just make them
That's-
do it.
that-
I think that's what Isla was asking for, so I just want to make that,
Well, he was talking Tennessee, right now.
he was talking Tennessee. Why can't we do the same with the Constitution?
Well, I think Constitution is so far along now, I think unfortunately,
The boat is
the
floating.
boat, we talked about it, but I think the boat has sailed. You know, the village talked to them, they came to the town with a proposal.
But
And
that was
you're
with
right,
leather
and
stocking,
that's-
that wasn't the Constitution, that was with leather
That was,
stocking.
right, but leather stocking is the one that, the Constitution.
Right.
And I'm not sure, that's one thing I'd like to see Tennessee do is, because, and then, there we go, it's this dirty word, eminent domain. Because leather stocking cannot go across property that the people do not want it used. So you have one person between, I'm just going, if the pipeline goes through up on Otago Mountain, one person between there and the village, leather stocking cannot go across that.
Who owns Otigo Road? Is it a town road? Town right away? No, I'm just saying, they're talking about going down Route 28 all the way to
Right.
Maridale, down through to.
28 to
Which you're gonna find out they can't do.
Okay, all right.
Because-
But it's just like the Otigo Road. They come down, they get to Donnie Hubbard's place, and you got the right of way there, and you go, nope, it's not going across me.
So I can.
It don't go.
Ooh.
Could
I
you-
can park something in that road anytime I want and leave it there?
Never.
I'm sorry, Mark.
You
I'm just
pay,
picking
you
on
pay taxes to the
I'm just
middle of the
picking
road.
on you.
You know, I think you do. But I mean, you know, realistically, you know, you got that, there's that 22-foot, you probably shouldn't park it in the end. Other than that, go ahead.
You had a choice.
All right, you have a choice.
Thank you.
So you lose 11 feet of your property line, there's no doubt. But you know, you're right, and I mean, that's the only unfortunate, and that's where Constitution, or Tennessee should be brought in, is that one of their give-me's, or whatever you wanna call it, pets, is because they have the right for eminent domain, is to bring a line into the village limit. And I think that'd be a great,
It would be.
great thing.
Constitution has the same eminent domain, but like you say, the
Right.
road is already
They're,
settled.
they're so far advanced, you know, that's what my thinking is on it, because everybody put their load on the leather stocking. And they're in the same, they're in it for the money. I mean, don't think Moravido's doing nothing for nothing. You know, and as soon as they hit some rough water or some slowdowns, we're pulling out, we're going to Pennsylvania. So that just shows that, you know, we'd like to get in Franklin, well, you know,
Someone else will
we
pay for
got,
it.
we got a kiss maybe is what we got, I'm not sure. You know, but, I mean, but if you can get the gas company as one of the, if they go, you know, if they're going through or whatever, you know, at least, yes, the village needs it, there's no doubt. You know, the school needs it. The businesses in Franklin would benefit from it, what I've heard. I mean, we don't have natural gas, I don't know if who has it, maybe where you lived before, or if you've always been a resident here, did you have natural gas in your previous residence? You know, was it reasonable, was it expensive? I've heard where it's, you know, it's cheap or cheaper. So, yes, Marianne.
Are we taking business away from fuel providers currently? I mean, just hypothetically, if we get natural gas in the village of Franklin, we're really
Well,
impacting.
probably a third of them are Moravos already.
Suburban.
That's why Joe
Well,
Rapido's got leather stocking.
There's a lot of companies in this area that are in the business of delivering the fuel we need, so it's interesting to.
Yeah, I mean,
think
you're
about-
right.
That
There's
would be
a lot of
there.
small companies. You got Moravidos and Suburban that are monsters,
Reinhardt.
then you got Reinhardt's, you got Kiff's, you got Boulder, you got Dubbins. So, I mean, there's a lot of small ones that are, but those companies are surviving because of local people
That's right.
But also-
and service.
But Jeff, going just back to that, so if I can just interrupt one quick second. The very fact that if Constitution goes through, we now have lost the greenfield advantage, so more than likely Tennessee could go through. That's just fact of life, I'm afraid. So we need to keep that in mind with Tennessee. If we can't get out of Constitution, maybe at least we can get some local benefit.
Right.
A little local benefit would go a long way.
More benefit,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, Pete.
You remember, you were there when Dennis Valenti exited, they were, the meeting that we had, at the town, and he brought it up, he says, that's bad business, remember? Not coming through with the gas, natural gas, the residents,
Mhm.
you were there.
Yeah.
It's just to ruin everybody's land and go through it, and I don't care.
Well, and, you know, well, why are Marabo's pulling out, or Leatherstocking? Because it's not financially feasible.
Well, they
That's the reason, right?
No
You
dollars.
can't do anything
No
until
dollars.
there's gas
Until there's gas to
provide. So
provide.
they're stuck until
And,
the permitting's
and
done.
there's a lot of hidden stuff, because I noticed when I talked, was it not Joe, it was Bill? Marabito, I think Bill? I know, I called Leatherstocking, the Marabito individual from Leatherstocking. And he said, you know, this was back in April, May, March. He says, well, we're just applying now for the, something from the state to show how much we can charge for it. So, I mean, the stuff, it's not just, hey, we got natural gas, here it is, pay it. You know, there's so many steps that, well, we've seen that, what steps has gone, you know, Constitution gone through so far. I mean, nobody would have thought there was as many steps as what they've got. Because, you know, you brought all the attention and all that. But, I'm just saying, you know, Leatherstocking really gave me hope that, geez, yes, we'll get, you know, maybe get a pipeline and we'll get natural gas in the village, which would be a great thing. No, you know, they want Sydney, they want Delhi, they don't care about Franklin, I'm sorry. Somehow it's gonna be made so it's viable for them. You know, getting it down off the hill to the village limits would be probably the big thing.
And if you don't
Yes.
do it now, when they put the pipe
And once
in,
it's through.
Once it's through. you
Well,
can't
I've
do
been
it
told
yet.
too that they
will
can
not
tap into
stop
that
that oil
pipeline
gas.
anytime.
They will not do it.
Because probably a lot of people have got ice makers on their refrigerators. You don't turn your water off when you tap into it, do you? Just turn that little screw and it taps that water line, you got water for your refrigerator. I'm thinking that's
Probably
probably
have
what
ways.
they do the same thing,
Do the same thing.
you know? Because I thought, you know, boy, once that pipeline's going, they ain't gonna shut it
They're not
down and
gonna
put a
shut it
T in for Franklin, you gotta be stupid. But they can tap into them, I understand, when they're in use. So it's not a total loss, but we can hope for the best on that aspect for the village. Yes. Mike, you haven't spoke yet.
Well, I want to speak about cell tower, but the
Well, that's
answer to
fine.
that question on the gas, when I had tenants come to my building as I guess, a business in this
Right.
town, they told me when I would say you have to pay fuel costs, well, it's half the price, 40% of what you're asking for fuel, when it's at about $3.60 to $4 a gallon for natural gas in there. In Jersey, we're all on natural gas. This is how much they're ripping them off in Jersey. They're voluntarily lowering the price and not being asked to lower their price to gas usage to the people. They're actually, the companies are coming to them, we're gonna lower it 10, 15%. So you know they're ripping them off by 50% or more. That's how much cheaper natural gas is, plus the maintenance and on your burner and all, you don't have to have that yearly cleaning and all that causes you know.
Right.
But there's a trade-off.
Right. So what on cell towers? You wanna,
Well, I don't know if you wanna be done with.
well, we're
cell
not done with
towers.
this, it's just a.
All right, from last meeting, I understand what Dawn said, I would have to come to you, you make a decision, I guess. There was an older gentleman from Threadwell that said that the school was being sold, or has been sold, or possibly, or
It's-
hasn't.
The watershed's working on it, my understanding.
It's been, they've got interest.
They have interest, the watershed ag
One of the
council.
concerns was cell tower service throughout the area, because obviously if it's gonna be their beehive
Right.
for all their cars to come, you don't get any service at
Right.
all.
Right.
My site that I didn't own at the time was the primary site for Franklin before any cell tower was, and the lady didn't want to do it. It is the highest spot in Franklin. How they do it, how they regulate it, how far they extend it,
Right.
the thing is, I don't know. But several people come up to me after, do you think it would extend past? Of course, you can see this in other towns. I can see my mountain when I'm on top of the hill.
Mhm.
So I'm willing, as I told you before, to do an agreement if it had to be with the town, or I'll do it privately.
Right.
You know, I do need that number again, but it seems like, according to that,
We need Jeff's number, Jeff's
yeah,
statements,
but according to that
I just
man,
saw it
it
today.
seemed like this was one of the things that was very important for them, that they were able to get cell tower service. And a couple of people that came up to me after the meeting said the same thing. I'm so tied, my hands are so tied, because I have to go here or there, or they have to put in another service.
Right.
You know, as I can't answer that question. So, and actually I have 2 sites on the property, so if there was a problem.
Well, I did talk to Jeff, maybe after the last meeting, and he was gonna go see Verizon, see if there was any interest in, putting a cell tower in Franklin. And he never did get back to me. He said he'd get back to me, but he never did.
Yeah, well, when I talked to him after you talked to him 2 years ago,
Yep.
he said we were gonna wait to see if there's any development. This is a development
Right.
that might be, it definitely would help Treadwell if they
Right.
came in here.
Right.
The
Watershed.
the watershed property, it definitely, and that's the type of business that you want. And to comment on Jason, on, the businesses do need, it's what closed a lot of us up, was that $4 a gallon. And you know how you're at the mercy of the oil companies, whatever they feel like doing. So the alternative to gas done properly would be, has to be a benefit to everybody involved, So, I mean, I will pursue that if that's the way we have, if you want me to.
Yeah, well, I gotta call Jeff again. I see saw his name today again.
Yeah, the only other thing was, I know when we talked about it a year or so ago, it was gonna go up on the Kellogg's property. And, I'm sitting there like, all right, they like town property because, you're cushioned by insurance reasons, but, you're next to a playground.
Right.
You have one there in the middle of town that's next to a municipal building. If you want to start in with the radioactivity or whatever that comes off these towers, you got public employees that are exposed to it. You have one over here in the middle of a farm property that, you got a couple of cows maybe. Me, I got a couple of deer that might get cancer, I don't know. So,
Okay.
So I don't know, like I said, if we need it municipal, I told you how we work it out.
I'll give Jeff a call again.
Yeah.
Or you can, I'll get you the number.
You can call them, we'll go from both ends if you want.
Okay, yeah, well, it hasn't been forgotten.
No, I know, it hasn't been forgotten, it
gotta-
seems like it'd be a shame that we would lose the watershed.
Right. If that would make the difference on it,
That
it would
would be
be,
the tipping of the
Yes.
scale for them to go with it.
right,
You know?
at least let them know we're looking at it. and
Yeah.
Thinking about
It's
it.
in the process, yeah.
And
They can do it temporary too.
I don't know when the tower went in over on Otsego Mountain. It's been quite a few years, but at that time, there wasn't enough, Now, everybody and his brother and all their
Now, what
kids,
do you mean, up on Haynes?
the ones on Haney's that never got finished, because no one wanted to pick it up, there wasn't enough traffic, my
Oh,
God.
oh.
10 years later, everybody's got cell phones.
Everybody's got cell, yeah.
So you'd think that there'd be a population now that'd be viable.
Well, safety things too.
Well, you would think.
People
but-
might, I have a network
Oh, yeah.
extender at my house on
Sure.
Jackson
You
Hill.
do,
Yeah, and it works perfectly fine. So, I mean, if Watershed wants cell service, all they have to do is buy this little box from their service provider, hook it up to Time Warner, they have cell service whenever they want.
There's limited in the amount of numbers you can register on it, and it only works for a distance of 40 feet. I have one too.
Mine works all the way down to.
okay.
But they're out to talking, moving something like 40 people over here, so.
Right,
you know,
right, if that moves,
that's
that'd be
okay.
a, That probably wouldn't be just
Well,
the watershed either. 'cause
In the
that's-
August meeting, the watershed people were supposed to come and be here, and they were supposed to be here tonight. So where are they?
Maybe they're thinking differently.
Well,
Yeah.
it's out of the watershed, that's the biggest different thinking.
Well,
A big concern, I think.
having worked for them, it's also nice to have when you come back, to bring the company truck back to the company, you can fill up with gas without, there's no,
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice
Trickle
site
impact.
for them, but it's, I'm surprised that it's being thought of.
But the watershed
Just
is
be
also
honest.
doing Susquehanna Valley stuff now,
Yeah, yeah.
quite a bit of it.
That's a
We've
different
been-
water.
Whole different- but
That's a different watershed.
that's soil and water, that's not watershed, that's a soil and water. It's still NRCS, which does both, but,
Is it the same
well, and,
people doing the work?
no, there's a Susquehanna team totally different from the watershed team.
Because we just did on one that, for Roman, that was out of the office.
Yeah, it's all out of the office in Walton, yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's another problem there. Right now, they're all in the one building, not, all watershed's up on 10,
That's the headquarters.
the headquarters, but, and
NRCS, soil and
NRCS,
water,
soil, water,
CCE, buffer
FSA
extension. Yeah,
is all in one building, which if somebody leaves, somebody else may have to leave too. And it's been brought up, I know, at soil and water meetings. It's an issue.
I want to say
Yes.
about the leather stocking in Moravigo, Moravigo would be the wrong one to have any connection with the gas. He's super gouges people. He's
really?
I bought gas in Syracuse before I came down here. It was $2.16 a gallon, $2.60 down here. My mother just got a contract from Moravigo. She signed. She's 90 years old. Didn't really. He locked in the price of $2.89. I call up KIF. He's $2.39 for oil.
Yeah.
And that seems high. I heard a farmer bought it for $1.98.
207 is when you find KIF, you want to just take, if you just need 500 gallons now, but if you want to lock in all
Right, you
winter.
pay a little more.
But Moravigo is, if you had somebody against Moravigo, competition, it would be a thing, but he's got it locked in around here, and he's price gouging everybody now.
Oh, Suburban does the same thing. They're one of the worst ones. Oh, they are the worst. I mean, and I like Suburban, but you gotta deal with them, you gotta work with them. Okay, that's good, yes.
We work
Behind the bell, I'm
No,
sorry. Same direction, but it's, it's. no,
emergency
no, you're-
response angle for the cell tower.
What do you mean, emergency response?
Well, use that as an argument for doing. We need the.
Well, we've already got, the county's got 5, 6, I don't know how many cell towers they got for the emergency, the 911, the whole thing.
It doesn't cover here. It doesn't cover here though. I mean, if I'm on the woods and cut my foot off or something like that, I can't pick up my cell phone and call or.
Right, no, but this is, for the emergency services and stuff, which I'm not sure how that, how we could work that in, or work that as a benefit too.